Hello, ladies. Here we go. We are down to the last 2 days of my 5-day Train Your Brain Mindset Challenge. I really hope you've been enjoying the daily challenges so far. If you're really enjoying this and you really want to dig deep, I encourage you to check out my 30-day Master Your Mindset training program. It really takes a holistic approach to your mindset training, body, mind, and spirit. We really go diving deep to really, uncover so many different areas of your life, your business, or whatever it is that you're working on personally. So I encourage you to check that out. But today, let's go ahead and get started. So today I'm going to be sharing an exercise with you that really helps tackle fear and procrastination when it comes to going after a goal, putting yourself out there, or simply taking a risk. I hear it so often from my clients, and it's the number one thing that prevents us from taking the next big leap in our business is fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear that we aren't ready, fear that we don't know enough, or fear that we simply aren't good enough. And fear leads to procrastination, or even worse, sometimes giving up altogether. So obviously this is something that's really important. It has a really big influence over our lives and our business and our ability to go after and achieve our goals. So unfortunately, there's no way to completely eliminate fear from our lives, but there are a lot of things that we can do to manage it. And what I found is that the best way to deal with fear is to bring awareness to the issue itself and diminish the fear with exercises that really focus on building up our confidence. So the first thing I really need you to understand about fear is that fear is not real, right? Like, fear is something that is in our head. It's something that we have created, and just like we're able to create it, we're able to, squash it, diminish it, remove it. When it comes to fear and hesitation about going after a goal or something you want to do, understand that fear is not something you're actually experiencing in the moment, right? It's just in your head. You've allowed your mind to create all of these horrible scenarios, these what ifs, these worst case scenarios. And fortunately, the likelihood of any of them happening is slim to none, right? Fear is not doing you any favors. Simply having fear isn't actually going to help you in any way. So by holding on to them, creating space in your life for these fear, it's not going to do anything to help you, right? So just imagine all of the things that you could do or accomplish, achieve, if you only focused on the best case scenario, those what ifs, like what if this works? What if I believe in myself enough to go after it and just go out there and do it and not worry about what other people think or fear of failure? Chances are you would, accomplish so many things. There wouldn't be nearly as much holding you back from reaching that next step or up leveling your business. So the first thing I want you to do for today's exercise is to identify one thing you're putting off because of fear. Something that you're just simply afraid to do that could really change your life if you just had that ability to get over that fear and go out and do it. So next I want you to do a brain dump. And write out every single negative belief, limiting belief statement or fear you have that is associated with taking that action and pursuing that one thing. So what is the worst case scenario? Why are you so resistant to do this? Write out all of those things to really bring awareness to the details of what this fear is all about. So the next thing I want you to do is go through the list and ask yourself these questions like, is this fear valid? Like, why do I feel this way? Where is this coming from in the first place? Like, what have I experienced that makes this true? Is it something I've experienced in the past that makes me believe it's going to happen again? Is it something from society? Is it something I've learned from friends and family? And should I really be allowing this fear to hold me back? So go through and ask yourself those questions for all of those statements, those fears that you've identified, around doing this one thing that would be so great if you could just get out there and do. So now that you've considered, where all of these fears are coming from and whether they should really have, that effect over you, I want you to go through that list and write out all the reasons why those fears are not valid and why you're no longer going to hold space for those negative beliefs. And you can do this by rewriting those beliefs as empowering belief statements that help propel you forward. So I'm going to give you an example here of a couple of negative belief statements that I identified when starting my coaching business. So here's the first one. I hate cold sales. I'm nervous about cold calling, talking to strangers about my business, or even emailing my target clients and trying to convince them to hire me. So you can see there's a lot of negativity and fear in that statement, but it's very true. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you thought those same things. So my response to myself, once I took a look at it and thought about it objectively, I responded, seriously, what is the worst that could happen? They might laugh in your face, hang up, or tell you to F off. They might ask you questions you aren't prepared to answer, but hey, you'll be ready to answer them every single time after that. Think of each conversation as a necessary preparation for that one big golden opportunity to work with your ideal client. The more calls you make, the more consultations you'll book, and the more paying clients you'll get. There's simply no easy way around it. You just need to suck it up and get started. Chances are it won't be nearly as bad as you think. Additionally, you've always been really good at calls and sales for every other company you've ever worked for. So being afraid to talk about your own company that you know everything about is just ridiculous. Vendors and employers have always been impressed with your professionalism, clear communication, and friendly personality. You have nothing to be afraid of. You don't need to convince anybody to hire you. You simply need to help them see what you can do for them. If you're valuable to them, they will be more than happy to hire you. There is no need for hard sales or debates. Know your worth and know that there are plenty of clients out there that would love to work with you. Period. I just gave myself so many reasons why I shouldn't be afraid of cold calling, sales, or reaching out to prospective clients. There are people out there that want and need my services, and by not allowing myself to go out there and do what my purpose is to do, I'm doing others a disservice. So don't let your fears hold you back from serving others. So I'll give you one more example here. My negative statement is, but people will judge me and think I'm full of myself or a fool for thinking I can coach others. Well, my response to myself is, F them. They're not paying your bills and they're not making your dreams come true, and they clearly don't know you or value you. Anyone who doesn't support your passion shouldn't have any influence over your pursuit of your dreams. Instead, focus on those who believe in you, trust in you, and are willing to invest in you. Don't ever make decisions based on fear of what your haters might say or think. They hold no place in your life, so the sooner you can get rid of them, the better. Now that was an example of how I was able to give a rational reason for letting go of my fear of judgment, right? It just makes sense. When you put it into that perspective, it suddenly becomes so much easier to push forward and overcome it. Think about giving advice to, friends or a family member. What would you say to encourage them if they were talking about those same limiting beliefs or fears, right? So as you can see, this is an exercise that has you turning your fears or negative belief statements into positive, empowering statements that encourage you to move forward. This exercise can literally bring you to major aha moments where you realize that some of the things you were so afraid to do really are kind of silly and ridiculous and really should not have so much power over you. Now, unfortunately, there are going to be times where your fears they are valid. They may be limiting you for valid reasons. But even if that is the case, there are things you can physically go out and do to diminish the power that fear has over you. So for example, maybe you can take a class to learn a new skill, right? Maybe you're afraid to apply for that, or ask for that promotion or apply for that dream job because you feel like you don't have the necessary skills. Fine, don't let that hold you back. Take the action to go out there and learn that skill. That will build the confidence and help you push forward so that you can go after it and do it. Stop making excuses. Maybe you really want to lose weight, but when you're in the gym, you don't know how to use the equipment, you're embarrassed that you're afraid that people will stare, and you'll be embarrassed if you incorrectly use the equipment. Fine, but don't let that be an excuse. Make an appointment, set up some time with a personal trainer to have them go through the equipment with you and show you how to properly use the equipment to achieve your goals. It's quite simple. By informing and educating yourself, learning the new skill, you can overcome that fear that is preventing you from moving forward. So whether it's simply changing your perspective and overcoming those beliefs, to put them in a better perspective, to see them more positively so you can move forward, or taking some physical action to go out there and do things that will help you build the confidence. There's so many things that you can do to be proactive and help you overcome your fears and hesitation. So that is today's challenge for you. I hope you took something away from this. Fear is such a big challenge for so many of you, so it's really important that you take the time to identify what it is that's holding you back in pursuit of your goals. So hopefully you can take this, run with it, and experience some shifts and really have that empowerment to go after your goal. So I would love to hear if this has helped you. Again, you can reach out to me, Kirsten@knoelcoaching.com. Would love to connect with you or talk to you about this further. So thanks again, guys. This has been day 4. I will see you back here tomorrow for day 5. All right, bye-bye.